Hey there, football fans. We're back. The international break has concluded, and we're back here for another week in the Premier League. Match week number 31. In fact, I'm Jason, of course. He's Matt. How's it going there, Matt?
It's going well. The World Cup is shaping up. It's exciting times really in football right now, and yeah, now after this long international break, we got to try and get back to the Premier League.
Yeah, it's always tough, coming off these international breaks. We'll do our best, obviously, to guide the viewers right on through it. We've got the comment section open and also the like button open. If you want to go do us a favor and hit that like button, let us know you're enjoying the content and you appreciate the bets we're going ahead and get off. I'm rocking the jersey. United States obviously getting in that World Cup last night, even though they suffered a defeat. They got in the World Cup, so it's exciting times. Obviously, after missing out on the last one, we get an automatic berth into the next World Cup. So good times there for the United States men's national team. You're going to be watching the
Yeah,
draw. Where are you going to catch the draw tomorrow?
I'll definitely be watching it. I'm super excited for it. I think it's kind of hilarious that we're in pot two and Canada is going to be in I think pot three, maybe even pot four. So that just seems very unfair since they won. But it's based on FIFA coefficient, your rankings, all that stuff. So yeah, hoping for a good draw, and I think I've got my dark horse picked out already too, Jason. I think I know who I would want. I don't think that they're necessarily going to win, but it could be like a good trading piece. But I'm just hoping, really the bets will be placed, after the draw tomorrow. But I do kind of like Senegal.
Senegal, okay. I was thinking the one team, if Ukraine can get into it, they can maybe pull off like a Denmark equivalent. Obviously, when the Ericsson situation happened and they kind of rallied around that, obviously Ukraine has something to rally around. I think they could be a sneaky team to maybe progress a little bit in the World Cup if they're able to get past, what is it, Wales, but then they
Wales.
play, who do they play first? Somebody. I can't
I thought
remember
it
who
was
it
just
is.
Wales, but maybe yeah, there might be another one too.
But either way, I think that could be another kind of good angle, depending on if they make it, of course, in the draw and all that good stuff. All right, let's. Normally, we always recap the previous match week, but by all means, that was so long ago, nobody can recall what the hell happened in match week 30.
Yeah.
So let's just jump into it. Your Liverpool is going up against Watford in the first game Saturday morning. How's this one going to shake out, Matt?
So I I think that Liverpool will find a way to get the job done because they're just such a cohesive, professional team. And, I'm very happy that this is at Anfield because if this was on the road, I think that it would be kind of a tough spot actually. Just with Salah playing so many minutes, he played. You know, uh, him and Mane. I mean, they just played so many minutes. Just had 120 minutes, penalties. The first leg, the full 90 minutes, some travel. So that's tough. Luis Diaz had the same thing, played in a couple matches. Uh, Colombia wasn't able to get the job done. But yeah, I mean, it's just I think that there's going to be a lot of rest and rotation. I think that Alexander Arnold isn't going to be here. I think it's most likely going to be Joe Gomez and at right back from what I've just some of the comments that I've heard from Klopp. So there's just a ton of, and I think that this line will, when the lineups come out, will crash. I think that it's at 2.5 right now. I wouldn't be shocked if it closes at the 2.25 or the two. Because of some of these lineups. I mean, Jota, he played 180 minutes basically the last two, over the last week. So all of these guys have played a lot. They've traveled a lot. So generally that means that Klopp is going to rotate. So, I could see Oxlade-Chamberlain, some players like that, Keita, all of those guys should start here. And thus, I think the line then will go down a bit. But yeah, I think that Watford have been a little bit better under old boy Roy Hodgson, and I think that they can keep it close. I think they can keep it closer than what the line suggests. So I actually like Watford plus 2.25, and I got that at even money earlier today, so I feel pretty decent about it.
Yeah, I would say that's a great bet just on the surface. But then if you want to go ahead and add in some rotation that you've mentioned, boy, that bet leak even better at plus 2.5 at plus money. I actually like that angle right there. Liverpool, yeah, they certainly get the job done. I think even if they do rotate, just like you said, they'll get the job done. They're really tough to score on, and obviously tough at Anfield. This Watford team hasn't scored on them in the last 6 head-to-heads. Liverpool's got 4 straight clean sheets. And Arsenal and the West Ham are included in those 4 straight clean sheets. So, if Arsenal's not scoring at home, if West Ham with a really good offense isn't scoring, I don't see how Watford's going to be able to put it together. I think you're right. It's probably a low scoring in a game where they can certainly cover a 2.5 margin. I just went with the clean sheet. It's at -112. They've been cranking out clean sheets. I'm not worried about a little bit of squad rotation, or maybe more than a little bit of squad rotation. I think they can more than get it done. The recent head-to-heads has been a dominant performance in this Liverpool team over Watford. So in a cagey, maybe low-scoring match, I'll go ahead and take Liverpool on that clean sheet at -112.
Yeah, I like it. And just talk a little bit more about it too. If this head-to-head would happen 2 weeks ago, I would not be on this. But just with the international break, all the players leaving, yeah, Canada in pot 4 from CD Wood. Yeah, it's really a travesty. That's unfair. That's where USA should probably be. They should be in pot 3 or pot 4, and Canada should be in pot 2. But it is what it is. I do think that USA is stronger than Canada, but they weren't throughout the entire qualifying period. So a couple weeks ago, Liverpool were in that form, and now it's like you've got to recapture it. This month for Liverpool, there's so many fixtures. There's going to be some rotation, and it is just huge. I mean, you have City basically in a week. You've got a Champions League quarterfinal that mixed into the middle of it all. So I expect rotation, and thus I expect it to be slightly closer than what it would have been a few weeks ago.
Yeah, but with them holding a trophy, with them fighting on 3 more fronts, I do like them just keep grinding out results and getting wins. If they're 1-0, 2-0 is okay, but maybe to your point, they're not going to run it up, but okay, let's move it over now to Brighton versus Norwich. Is this one of those how the hell do you bet this game? Why would you throw your money behind it? I'm kind of waiting for DraftKings to give me a shots on target prop. Otherwise, I just don't know how you touch it. I mean, Norwich is obviously just super fighting and scratching, and Brighton's just been terrible. I mean, you got to go back to February 12th for the last time Brighton got any points, and you got to go back to February 9th for the last time that Norwich got any points. I mean, 2 teams that are just an absolute mess and just stacking up losses after losses. Man, I want no part of this game.
I know. Yeah, looking at the last 6 matches. Oh my God,
it's all else.
Zero points for either side. And we sit here and we see Brighton at -200 to -225. It's, oh gosh, I could not bet this game. I couldn't bet lineups. If I saw an A+ Brighton lineup and they're at home, I mean, I could see Brighton in under 4.5 goals being a decent look. I mean, the international break probably came at a great time for them. I mean, it's right. When you're in that kind of form, I don't know. I'd need to see Trossard. I would need to see everyone.
I know.
To even consider it. That would be my angle, though. If I had to play this, if somebody made me play this, I think that your shots on target angle for Brighton could be very interesting. And I think that the only way that I could go would be Brighton in under 3.5 or Brighton in under 4.5. I just don't expect a ton of goals here, and I hope that the home side would be able to scrape one against the worst team in the league.
I mean, but a Brighton team that in 15 home games only has 14 points and has only scored 10 goals. I mean, just terrible.
You can't. It's almost like you just can't really find the angles to back them. But yeah, if you put a gun to my head, I would have to find a way to get on Brighton. But I also think that these matches this week are very difficult, and I think that I mentioned it to you earlier. Other than Liverpool and City, really, I think if you take 8 matches and you just blindly take let's say quarter units or half units on draws, I think that you're going to profit. So. I could easily see a draw here.
Yep, me too as well. All right, let's move over now to Burnley versus Manchester City. And I have a bet for this game that I gave out actually last week on my daily sports betting show. I was all over this. It's Manchester City on the clean sheet. Look, made this bet both times last season. I remember watching the second leg there at the gym, and it's not even a sweat. In the last 5 games, they've gotten 5 clean sheets. How many shots on target do they have in those 5 games? Only 5 guys. City's going to have all the ball. Burnley's got nothing. I mean, this is about the easiest a bet. I wish it's no longer at minus 122. I wish when it was at minus 122, I put 2 or maybe gave out my first ever 3-unit bet. It's City, and it's going to be 80-75% possession.
Well, do you know what the odds are currently right now?
I've been tracking it. It went to minus 155. Now it's down to minus 132. So still decent at minus 132 if you wanted to get on it.
Yeah, very interesting. I think that's a great look here, Jason. I mean, I really have not a lot to say about this match. Like, I think that if you want to put, it sucked because I've been just ripping those Man City Liverpool 2-team parlays, and they're coming in every single week. You know how bad I want to go back to it here, but it's like minus 275 on a 2-team parlay between Liverpool and City. But I mean, sometimes, there's sometimes where I do actually like, in the NFL. Even I did it yesterday. I did like a minus 220 parlay on. I did the Nuggets against the Pacers because the Pacers suck and they're tanking and they just don't care, and the Nuggets have a ton to play for and they're actually a good team. And then I combined it with like a minus 600 Mexico against El Salvador. And I mean, it's a no sweat. It's not like the most, bankroll management kind of style of betting, but like sometimes like taking those two and you still are like at minus 200 or worse. Like, I've done that a decent amount in the NFL too, like with, going up against some bad teams, just little things like that. So, I wouldn't probably recommend it here, but I think that the only way to look would be like, City win to 0, City clean sheet. I just don't know. I mean, City Burnley are going to have 11 men, 11 men behind the ball, and it's going to say, City, come and break us down. And I mean, maybe an interesting angle if you want to back Burnley in some way, shape, or form is, no goals in the first 30 minutes. Like I could see that happening. Like Burnley are pretty solid. I'm sure that you'd get a plus price on that, and they're compact and they know their formation.
That's gonna be such a nervous watch, man, because City's gonna have the ball for the whole 30. You'd be so nervous, your ass would be chapped watching that.
You would be sweating the whole time, pretty much. But I do like their goalkeeper. I like their center back. So I don't know. I mean, that would be a decent sweat at a plus price, maybe.
I would say if you don't, your 2-team parlay of Liverpool City, if you didn't want to maybe throw in a third team, City has covered the minus 1.5 spread in those last 5 clean sheets that I mentioned. So if you don't want to maybe make it a 3-teamer, maybe just do a Liverpool money line and City minus 1.5 on the Asian handicap and keep it 2 teams.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could even do like Liverpool and City just like -1. That could be a way in.
Yeah,
possibly.
I agree. All right, let's keep the discussion going. Let's move over now to Chelsea versus Brentford, where I see another clean sheet. That seems to be a trend here with me in these top big boy clubs. We've kind of talked about it. You definitely have a big gap between, these top 3 teams, I think, in the rest of the league, even though maybe there's only a 5-point discrepancy between Chelsea and Arsenal. I think there is a sizable gap between those 2 teams. They've already played Brentford twice this season, once in the FA Cup, or maybe it was the EFL Cup, and then they played them in the league. Both of those were at Brentford, and Brentford didn't get a goal in either one of those games. When you play better at home, when you have more of the ball, when you're more attacking because your supporters are behind you, they did nothing at home in 2 games against Chelsea. This one's going to be at the Bridge. I don't see them doing anything against Chelsea, so to me, it's Chelsea on the clean sheet. They'll probably win this game 2-0. I think it does come under 2.5. Lukaku's, not getting the chances, and then Werner still misses his chances. Havertz is doing pretty nice. He's looking good, but I don't know. I would lean under 2.5, but to me, Chelsea on that clean sheet all day long.
Nothing else to add here. I think that's the only way that I would really want to look is home clean sheet against a side that, the 2 matches that they've played, one was in the EFL Cup, one was in the Premier League. I mean, there was no goal by Brentford, and I think that's the only way to look prior to maybe seeing some lineups and trying to find like a goal scorer bet. So I agree.
And if you're looking for a third team in that parlay that we mentioned, there's your third team, folks. Dump in Chelsea and that City and Liverpool Moneyline parlay. All right, Leeds Southampton. I've got one of my typical angles that I like to do here, but why don't you go ahead and go first?
Oh, this one is tricky. I've seen that Bamford is out for the year, so that that kind of sucks for their attack. But
That was
look, I
tough to
mean,
watch him come back and then have to leave in that same game, like after a handful. That was tough.
yeah, yeah. And what's weird here is over the last three head-to-heads between the two, both teams to score no has hit in all of them. But I think that there's goals here. Like the only way that I could really want to bet this is backing goals before But I got to see some lineups here. I think I'm interested in the goals, but I haven't really been interested enough to bet it yet. And a lot of these times, like after the international break, like this is where I go pretty much full lineup checker for the most part. Like I bet the Liverpool match because I know pretty much what we're going to see from their starting 11. But some of these other ones, it's just it's weird. I mean, look at it. Leeds, they've allowed 1+ goals in their last 17.
Right.
Southampton, the international break came at a great time for them. I mean, they've lost 4 in a row. Uh, I see goals here. I mean, Southampton, they've allowed at least 1 goal in their last 10 away games. So you combine the two, BTT as yes, you go over the 2.5 or something like that. That makes the most sense to me, and I could see myself betting it if I could see some just quality attacking players in the lineup.
Yeah, I think that is certainly a good angle there in that match. I would think on the surface, people would probably say Southampton is the better team. I would get a touch nervous. You mentioned their recent losing streak, and also I just get nervous when you want to fade these teams like a Leeds that's just got so much to fight for, and they're just gonna fight way more than Southampton will for the full 90 minutes. I would just get nervous, even though Southampton probably is the better team. Maybe lean away from that. I love your goals angle. I love your both teams to score angle. I love what Professor's cooking up though here on this Leeds on the most cards. That is my bet in this game. Leeds is first in the league in cards. They've got 90. Southampton is 8th in the league. They've only got 52 cards. Leeds is actually number 1 by 24 cards. And Marsh, the new manager here, has not come in and cleaned it up. They've gone over 2.5 cards in their last 3 games, so they're still just as scrappy as ever. And I think that's because they're a relegation fighting team, guys. When you're fighting and you're scrapping and you're clawing for these points to stay in the league next year, that draws fouls, and obviously that draws yellow cards. So Anthony Taylor is going to be the ref here for this match. He's given out the 3rd most cards so far in the league so far this season. So to me, it's do you want to do Leeds most cards at minus 114, or do you want to take that Leeds team total at over 2.5 at plus 180? Oh yeah, give me that Leeds over 2.5 cards at plus 180. That's done nothing but cash in the last 3 games. So if you're going to bet that while we're talking, I only put a half unit on that. That's a little bit later there on my full reveal, but I did a half unit on plus 180 for Leeds to have over 2.5 cards. Love that angle right there, Professor. I'm all over that one. That one's going to hit. All right, let's keep the train moving along. Matt, what's going to happen between Wolves and Villa?
Another really tricky match to call. Some players that I'm not sure if they're going to be in or out, like Jimenez. I think that he should be able to make this trip back and start, but he's played a lot of matches. It's both of these teams. There's really not a ton to play for. They're the Europa spots are something. I like Wolves a touch better, but then there's Villa too that are pretty solid, and they have probably a couple better attacking type of players. I don't know what to do with this one, Jason. I have completely left it, and I will revisit it when the lineups come out. But I don't know. I really don't know what to say about this one right now on a Thursday. I need to dig in a little bit more on who's going to be there and who's not. And yeah, I mean, I could see draw. Draw.
I got an angle for this bet. Fortunately, the sportsbooks made it so I can't bet it because it's at minus 175, and that's above my personal threshold, but under 2.5 goals. at minus 175. You kind of mentioned it. We know how Leeds has been super stingy on their defensive end, and we've really fallen in love with that Villa defense over the last, probably a couple months. They've just been really good. So I think under 2.5 will come in. I think it comes in relatively easy. This game could be 0-0, maybe 1-0, but two really, really good defenses. A good goalkeeper there in Martinez. I think this one will struggle, regardless of what maybe offensive firepower Villa has. That's better than Wolves. That Wolves defense is really good. Guys, they're only averaging 1.8 goals at home. That's not what Wolves is averaging. That's what the whole game is averaging. You do not score at the Molyneux. Good defense. To me, it's under 2.5. I don't have it.
Yeah.
It's a lean. It's a parlay piece just because it's above my threshold. But if you have a different threshold than me, I like under 2.5 goals in that game.
So, Jason, that I really like Wolves. I've liked them. I love betting on them. I think that the sports books, I think that they're telling us something here, though, by having Villa as road favorites here. Like, why are Villa road favorites? Can someone please explain that to me? And I think that they're actually giving us an indicator that Villa, their offense is a little bit better than Wolves. So, like, they're probably going to create a couple more chances than Wolves will. And so it does actually make sense for me to go against Wolves a little bit. I think that backing Villa because of their creation ability and some of they've got just some cheekier players really, and they're all on all fronts really. Their attacking firepower is better. So I would side and with a slight lean towards the road team, who I know is going to create more. But yeah, like you mentioned, like Wolves' defense is solid. So I just don't really have an interest in betting this one right now.
I think Villa probably deserves to be the favorite. I just think their defense is that good and their offense is better, kind of like how you said. So they probably deserve to be a touch better. You've kind of got me on this Wolves team. I predicted that 1-0 correct score against West Ham. I was on their team total against Watford. I was on their bet there against Everton. And did I take them against Leeds? I don't know if I took them in their last game or not. But I've had a nice little run here of the Wolves game.
That was the worst beat of the season for me.
Oh, yes. That was the one for you. I remember you telling me about that. Up 2-0.
Yeah, that was the worst of the season. I was spot on everything there, and the red card, and the game flipped, and that was a crazy Premier League game though that we love.
Yeah, that was. I do remember that. Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. So I didn't bet it, but I remember you did bet it, and yeah, that's brutal because they were dominating until that red card, and then it just flipped. It just absolutely flipped. All right, let's move it on now to Manchester United versus Leicester. This is another game where I've already given out a bet a couple days ago, maybe on my show. I'm on both teams to score in over 2.5. It's no real surprise that I'm on that bet. It's cashed a lot here in the head and in the most recent head. It's cashed last 4 head-to-heads and really hasn't even been a sweat. And one of those, it was a 2-1 game, but the other one was like a 2-2, a 3-1. I think there was even like a 4-2 game in there. I mean, it's just been goals in this fixture. Of course, no Vardy. He still got that knee injury, but Leicester scores goals. That's what they do. They're going to get a goal. They've been doing it in this head-to-head. And then I think Manchester United, while they're probably the better team, I'm tired of picking them to win games. They're too inconsistent, but I think they'll give up goals, and I think they'll also score goals. So, yeah, it's certainly a no-brainer bet for me. I've been riding this one a lot of times this season, and I got no problem riding it again. Season stats suggest it. Head-to-head suggest it. No-brainer. Hope we get the right result. And it's at minus 105. Like, what are you doing giving that at minus 105?
I'm surprised that that's at minus 105. Like, I would have thought that it's a minus 125, minus 130. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Yeah, it's 8 of the last 13. Both teams to score in over 2.5. I mean, these two teams, they've got a lot of players that are still like similar in some of these fixtures dating all the way back to even 2016. I mean, some of these guys have been on these squads for a long time. So, yeah, 8 of the last 13, both teams are scoring over 2.5 is cashed. Like Jason mentioned, the last 4, there really hasn't even been a sweat. That's the only way that I can go here. I haven't bet it. I definitely want to, again, the theme of the show for me is I want to see some lineups, but yeah, I think that the goals angle. I mean, Leicester have won Leicester haven't been beat in the last 4 of those as well. I mean, and you're getting a +1 here on Leicester, which is somewhat interesting. but something also kind of tells me you'll just get your money back. So I don't know. Again, one that just give me some time. I need to see some lineups, and I will definitely be tweeting out some stuff here on, even if I don't bet these matches, just kind of little angles to try and find.
He says, seems like Game United will make a mess of. I absolutely love that comment. That is a great comment. You know what that comment means, though? Both teams are scoring over 2.5. That's what that comment also means right there. I love that. Well, that was good right there. All right, we got another one here. We got West Ham versus Everton. Last 3 head-to-heads have been 1-0. What's gonna happen in this one, Matt?
Oh, I mean, this is another one that's just Everton. We're talking about Everton, West Ham, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everton. I mean, how can you even bet this team with what's going on right now? I mean, seriously, they lose 4-0 to Crystal Palace. They beat Newcastle, but that was at home. Now they're back on the road.
That was a big point because they had just gotten a red card. And I was like, okay, Newcastle's going to get it. And I was so gutted for Brian, who did that, who won our Leeds free giveaway, and then Everton snuck up. I was gutted.
This is probably this is the one that's closest to becoming my second bet of the week and I think it's very obvious, but I do think that West Ham are warranted at minus 130 to minus 140. I think that it makes sense. I think that they deserve to be those kind of favorites here. A huge piece of this too that's very important, and it makes me almost want to take a win cast with Antonio, because Antonio, he's a player on the Jamaican national team, but he chose not to come because Jamaica was completely out of World Cup qualifying. So he chose not to come to these last 2 matches against, I don't know, El Salvador they played, and then they played whoever they played last night. Maybe it was Honduras. And so he didn't come. So he's been staying in London. He's fresh. He's ready. He's probably going to be pretty sharp. That's a decent way to maybe go in. Like in Antonio Wincast, that's at a nice plus price. Or if you just want to go anytime goal scorer with him, I think those make a lot of sense. And I think that West Ham makes a ton of sense here. I just haven't pulled the trigger yet, but I'm not backing Everton. There's just no way. I mean, they've been probably the most disappointing team in the last 2 months. So no interest on their side whatsoever.
I agree. I think Everton's going to be in a little bit of a hurt right here. Look, their last 2 games against Newcastle and Wolves, they only had 38% of the possession at Goodison Park. Now they're going to go travel to London here and take on West Ham. You want to give West Ham 60+% of the possession with their offensive powers of Antonio, as you said, and Bowen and Fornals. They're going to put some goals past Everton. So Everton needs to come up with a better game plan, or they're going to be run right out of this building here by West Ham. I like their team total over 1.5 goals. I got that at minus 115. I think over the course of the game, they'll get 2 past Everton. I expect them to have the lion's share of the possession because that's what Everton's been doing here up under Frank Lampard. So yeah, give me that West Ham offense. I'll get 60+% of that ball with those attacking players. Yeah, all day long. So that's a nice angle there with Antonio. I didn't realize what he did there in international break. I do like that, and he seems to be getting back on form. So nice angle there with Antonio. So, but yeah, I'm on team
he's
total.
Struggled. He's kind of struggled recently, and I think it is in part, when these breaks happen, like traveling all the way, playing in these they're meaningful, but they're kind of meaningless for Jamaica. Like they're just not that good of a side. So yeah, just wasting those legs. Like now they're a little bit fresher, recharged. Like that's an angle. That's a little bit of an edge when you think of Richarlison. He went and traveled, played for Brazil. He scored a goal recently in a meaningless World Cup qualifier. It was already, signed, sealed, and delivered, but it was a meaningless game. And so that's one striker on one side traveling to South America, the other one sitting right here at home in London. And I don't know. I think that kind of presents a slight edge.
Everton's got to be a little careful here because they're in 17th place, but they have 3 more points than Watford is right behind them. But they have 2 games in hand. But if they continue playing like this of giving away possession, that's going to lead to losses if you eventually just let the opponent have the ball, and they're going to eventually get goals. So they may be sitting somewhat comfortable with 2 games in hand and up 3 points, but man, their tactics are going to just keep them in that danger zone up until the end. And it's not going to be fun for an Everton supporter if you like the Toffees. Not going to be fun. All right, well, I think we got two more games here. Tottenham and Newcastle. You've been riding Newcastle a lot this season. What's going to happen here between Tottenham and Newcastle?
Oh, this is another tricky one. I think that it's a team with a ton of motivation. In Tottenham right now, they're on the outside looking in. They're trying to catch up to their arch rivals in Arsenal, and they've still got United right there, and so they've got more motivation now, which is, a month or so ago you would have said, how is Newcastle like already just shot up the table like this, and it's almost like, Newcastle are scotch free. They're crystal clear. They're going to be in the league next year, and they are going to be dangerous in the years to come now. I thought it was just going to be an incredible story if they would have somehow gotten relegated after the billionaire takes over Newcastle. That would have been an incredible story, but they made a great buy in Bruno, the Brazilian. He's really come on strong, and they're good. They're going to be good, and they're going to be super dangerous in the years to come. So not really looking forward to that, as I think that Newcastle will, I think that Newcastle, maybe not next year, but I would say in 2 years, like, I think that they're clearly going to be a top 10 side. It might even happen next year. Just because, that money, the money talks, and they'll be able to get and some really nice players in, and it'll make a difference. So, but in terms of this match, I just I think Tottenham win. I don't think that there's a ton of value on it, so I've decided to leave it.
Okay, you're not betting this game. I actually love this game, and I actually love this game for goals for some of the things you mentioned. Tottenham sitting right good there in fifth place and challenging for Champions League and challenging for Europa League. Obviously, Newcastle's in that sweet spot of we're probably not going to get relegated. We're also not fighting for anything up high. Here comes my son's coming, busted in here. Give me a half a second here. Go over there with Lisa.
Oh, all good.
Go over there. I know. Go over there with Lisa for a second. I know. That's the thing. There's live television there for you.
I love it.
So Everton's in a good spot, or Newcastle, whatever you're talking about. Newcastle's a good spot. They're going to score some goals here, fellas. So this bet is cash, or I didn't even say what the bet is. Let me. I'm on both teams to score on over 2.5. By the way, at plus 135. Both teams to score on over 2.5 at plus 135. It's cashed in 3 of the last 4 head-to-heads. The one that it missed, you got the both teams to score to happen. You just didn't quite get that third goal. But, boy, Spurs at home that day, they had 12 shots on target. They were threatening. It just didn't quite happen. So, yeah, in a game where Spurs are going to keep on going for it, ton to fight for, a Newcastle team that's certainly dangerous just where they sit in the table, I think they're going to give it a go. They've had a lot of success in this fixture over the last couple of years. So I like both teams to score on over 2.5. And then when I saw it at plus 135, it's like, yeah, I mean, just look at the numbers. It makes too much sense not to bet it. So, yeah, plus 135, I'm all on it.
I like it. I mean, that's the thing is, like, that's the reason why I just can't warrant taking Spurs, like, at -1, for example, on the Asian handicap. Is just I don't trust their defense. So I don't trust them to keep a clean sheet, keep the back door closed, and that's what you need essentially to cover a -1 Asian handicap in this game, unless it is just goals galore and it ends up being like a 3-1, which is now what I'm hoping for because that's what you're on. But yeah, I think that I can't trust Spurs defense. I do still love some of these Newcastle attacking players, so I think that makes all the sense in the world, Jason. I really do. I think that's a good one.
Love how you just threw out 3-1 right there, because that's what I put on the NBC Sports Predictor app this week. I got 3-1 Spurs victory. I think that is exactly how it goes. And then, yeah, if your center back is Eric Dyer, you're conceding goals. Come on, Eric Dyer's trash.
Yeah.
All right, last game. It's Monday afternoon. I do already have a bet for this game. Normally I usually wait until Monday, but I do have a bet for it. It's Crystal Palace versus Arsenal under 2.5 goals. Under 2.5 goals. Know how Crystal Palace has been at home. Love how Arsenal has just been in general. Love that Arsenal defense, even if with Palace at home and maybe playing better at home. Although, if you kind of look at the table now, it's kind of gotten a little bit even. They're now home and away. It's not as home dominant as it was maybe a couple months ago when we've been sitting in this chair every Thursday. But love that Arsenal defense. Love that Crystal Palace at home. I see under 2.5 at -136. I think Arsenal certainly has enough to go ahead and scrape out a victory. But if this one finishes, 1-0, not going to be too surprised. That's how I think this one will be really, really tight.
Yeah, I'm trying to just pull up some of the most recent odds right now on it, because, I mean, this is going to be kind of a tricky game. Like you mentioned, I think that, yeah, it's going to be tight. Um, let's see. Arsenal managed 5 consecutive halftime, full-time away wins, which is really impressive. They do really well against Palace, which is kind of shocking. But, those are things that you can find little edges on. I mean, Arsenal have not been beat by Crystal Palace in 17 of their last 19. And that, I mean, there's some draws in there and things like that. Um, because then on the flip side, they've really only, so they've done well against Palace. They rarely get beat, but Palace have been also kind of pesky Palace, like we know. I mean, they've been pesky with City a couple times over the years. So Arsenal have only beaten Palace one of their last 7 as well. So it's like that contrast where basically there's been a ton of draws in this one. And I could definitely see a draw here, like you're mentioning, kind of low scoring. I think that the draw is a huge piece. And I mean, Palace, 6 straight matches without being beat, undefeated in 9 of 10, have kept a clean sheet in their last 3. So Palace are starting to find a little groove. I'm worried for Arsenal here on this one. And I think that the odds reflect it, as basically Arsenal are at plus 100 here on the road. There is no way that I'm backing Arsenal in this match. I like them as a team. Like, I don't know, if they win this match or not, but there's no way that I could get behind backing Arsenal at this price. And this has been that death trap for Arsenal bettors over the last 2-3 seasons. When you see Arsenal on the road and they're around even money, don't get sucked in. Just really either skip the game or whatever, but you don't want to back Arsenal at this price. I mean, it's just Palace have been good, and I think that Palace could get something from this game. I kind of like draw here. A draw feels really right here at plus 240, plus 250. That makes a ton of sense to me. So, yeah, I've left it, but it's a Monday afternoon Premier League match, Jason. I can see myself betting this one.
I know. Once you've won all those units this weekend, you just want to put one of them back into play. You'll be on that bet in some fashion. I did look up your draws. You mentioned maybe this would be a good weekend to throw it on the draws coming out of international break. The smallest one is plus 210. So you don't need a lot of these draws to hit, if you're going to pull in some profit. Get 4. I mean, get 3, because a lot of these are like plus 300, plus 400. So get three draws this weekend. You're sitting pretty.
Yeah, 3 draws out of, 2. What? So if like 2 of the 8 draw out of the 8, which, because I'm just excluding City and I'm excluding Liverpool. I mean, those are no guarantees, but I'm excluding those because I think that those 2 teams are on another level. But yeah, I mean, you hit a couple of them, like you're fine. You're at least like, and next thing you know, if like 4 come in, like you're making a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's a decent angle for this one because I think that some of these matches are really tough to call.
Yep, I agree. All right, folks, that's all 10 games. Let's now get you to our bets and show you how we're going to make some money. There is Matt's singular bet. What is he on?
Very rare with only 1. But yeah, it's just it's the post international break thing, and just want to see lineups.
Yeah. Yep, I don't fault you there. All right, here's my plethora of bets. I got City on that clean sheet, Liverpool on that clean sheet, Chelsea on that clean sheet. Take West Ham on that team total. Take those Leeds team total over 2.5 cards, but only put a half unit on that, assuming you get it at plus 200. Put a half unit on it. United versus Leicester, both teams are scoring over 2.5. Tottenham and Newcastle, both teams are scoring over 2.5. Give me that Palace Arsenal under 2.5. And I had to do a Moneyline Parlay. I know I say I never do Moneyline Parlays, but I'm on the train this week. Liverpool, City, and Chelsea coming in at almost even money there on a 3-legged Moneyline Parlay.
I like it. I think that your bets are really solid. I really want to add like West Ham team total. I'm going to definitely be looking into that one. I think that your angles are all really spot on here. So now we just got to play out and see it. Let it play out and see what happens, Jason.
Yeah, and I feel good because I feel like I didn't force anything. I didn't have a lot of volume, but if there were bets I liked, I bet them. So I like it.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, folks, that's match week number 31. Hey, lots of great comments. Professor and Moritz and Brian's up in there. Lots of good stuff. Appreciate everybody. Hit that like button on your way out if you didn't. Good luck, man. Let's cash some bets this weekend, fellas. Let's put some money in our pocket and let's enjoy this Premier League action and come back next week and we'll do it all over again. Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.